Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beem Weeks and Stephen G welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. At Voice of Indie, you can spend time with guests such as Country Music Hall of Fame drummer Mark Herndon, sci-fi master Robert G. Wilscroft, med expert Dr. Helen Burrell, the Tippins of Rockers Wide Track, sports writer and photographer Stephen Hargis, broadcaster and author David Carroll, and international author Sally Cronin. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @Voice of Indie, and you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our website to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
It's time for Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gies, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Voice of Indie podcast. This is episode number 109. I am your host, Mr. Beem Weeks, and with me, as usual, is Mr. Stephen Gies. How you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing nifty keen. Hope you're doing just as well. Got a big weekend coming up, holiday weekend here in the United States. College football starting, winding down the summer. Things are starting to happen around here. I do want to throw out a big thank you to all of the bloggers and friends of Fresh Ink Group who helped us publicize the appearance last week of Jerry Pate and Robert G. Williscroft. They were out there. We did a blog tour, and they really helped us build a lot of traffic, and we really appreciate you guys. Now, other than that, life has been fairly simple. I go out and feed my frogs at night, despair about not getting enough work done, complain about how hot it is out here, and last couple of days I've had a crop of baby frogs, little tiny baby frogs the size of your thumbnail, which if the damn folder will open here, I'm going to post a picture on Twitter so everybody can see. And while I'm doing that, how about you, Beem? What's going on?
Not a whole lot. We spent Monday way up north at my sister's place, visited her for a while. It's a couple-hour drive north of where I'm at. And while we were up there, we had a storm go through, and it was kind of rainy and windy up there. But when we got home, we saw that the storm had really, tore stuff apart down here. So I spent the last couple of days cleaning up the yard with all the tree branches and all that, and driving down my road here, see some of the neighbors, huge trees that just were blown over and made a mess out of everything. But we got that finally got it all cleaned up today. So we're back to where we should be. I just wanted to let everybody know next week we are having a pre-recorded episode. It's a brand new episode, so tune in for it. It's author Paul DeBlasi III. But Paul wasn't able to join us live because he has a practice, and it kind of, he's got people that he sees at this time. So we ended up getting him in here a few weeks ago, and we recorded this great episode. It's a fun episode, and so be sure to tune in. We will be monitoring Twitter, so when you're out there throwing your tweets out still, one or both of us will, kind of answer back to that. And if you want to be involved in tonight's episode with tonight's guest on Twitter or on the telephone, here's how you can do that.
Call 516-453-9902 right now with your questions or comments for tonight's guest, or post a note on Twitter with #FreshInkGroup in the body of the tweet, and we'll read it on air. That's 516-453-9902 or #FreshInkGroup on Twitter.
And speaking of Twitter, we've got Robert G. Williscroft has posted standing by in Centennial, Colorado to hear what A.K. Wingler has to say. Yeah, we're all looking forward to that. And for Wayne Greenhost, as for the record, you are having a violent thunderstorm here in the armpit of Florida. I think he means we are having it. I'll hang in as long as I can, but this 5-year-old PC has got thousands of documents in it. I don't want to fry. I can listen on my cell, but hey, take care, my friends, Verwayne.
All right.
Now there's one more post here, and it's from Stephen G's, and look at that. It's a baby frog on a hydrangea leaf. That little tiny thing is literally the size of your thumbnail. I mean, just a little tiny thing. And I got a bunch of them out here, so I've been kind of having fun watching those. Now, the book, Submariner, which was by last week's guest, Jerry Pate. It is out there. It's been published everywhere. We're not seeing the hardcover popping up some places yet, so we're working on that. But you can definitely order your $1.99 digital copy in all the formats out there, from Kindle to Nook to Kobo to Google Play, iTunes, you name it, it's out there. Or you can order a paperback, but give it another day or two, and that hardcover should populate at whatever retailer you're looking for. So that's Submariner, Submariner, and that's submarine-ER. Likewise, coming out sometime in the next week or so is How to Start and Run a Food Truck Business in Georgia by tonight's guest. So we're looking forward to having that out too.
All right. Newsletter. Hey, check this out. Our newsletter engagement is steadily rising, which is a good thing. Though the subscribers and unsubscribers, they're holding steady. YouTube channel, our subscribers are slowly creeping up, and that's another good sign. If you haven't subscribed, get over there and subscribe to it, and hit the likes as you watch these videos. What are you waiting for? Newsletter, when you get yours, forward it to others. Share it. It's meant to be shared. There's all kinds of great information for readers and writers and music fans and just people who, like a good time. So, and if you're wondering how to get our newsletter, hey, Beem, how do we subscribe to your newsletter? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's how you can do that.
Stay on top of these podcasts and all things Fresh Ink Group with our weekly digital newsletter. New releases, videos, stories, excerpts, interviews, and more. Sign up now on the homepage of freshinkgroup.com and be the one who knows what's what.
What?
Boy, and it's free too. You just can't beat a deal like that. Now, if you had already been a subscriber, if you'd have looked at this morning's newsletter, you'd see Fresh Ink Group member and author Andrew McGregor just traveled to Norway and Scotland and competed in the McGregor Games, named after his family, and won a sword, won a trophy, and all that kind of stuff, and put on an accordion concert while he was there. So there's pictures of that in the newsletter. Check it out. That's our own Andrew McGregor. We're looking forward to getting his book out soon. Now, what's happening in print sales? Now, each week I've been telling the top 5 current print sales bestsellers, and in the number 5 slot this time, we have a Mac McDowell mission. This one's Operation Icebreaker. Now, these Mac McDowell missions, there's 3 out so far, and the 4th one, Operation Whiteout, should be out sometime in the coming months. These things keep creeping into these top 5 sales, and it's a different one every time. It might be Operation Ivy Bells this week. Next week, it'll be Operation Icebreaker. But in the number 5 slot, Operation Icebreaker, a Mac McDowell mission by Robert G. Williscroft. The number 3 and 4 slots, Mark Herndon, The High Road, Memories from a Long Trip. Everybody's heard about this guy. Played drums with the supergroup Alabama for almost 3 decades. Great book, fun book to read. And if you're a fan of country music and or Alabama, that's the book for you. And then our top 2 slots again, and this is 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row, something like this. Still not enough. Minority Millennials in the Workforce. And that's by Janelle A. Jordan. Both the hardcover and the softcover are in the number 1 and 2 slots. Now, if you take the best hardcover sales from Mark Herndon's book in the number 3 slot and multiply that times 5, you get Janelle's softcover sales. You increase that number by 50%, and you get her hardcover sales. So, again, her numbers are not only way up there in the top 2 slots, but they're way up there in the nosebleed section, too. So, yeah, congratulations, Janelle.
Janelle's rocking it.
Yeah, and Robert G. Williscroft, we like how he's always out there seeing what his rankings are on his books and stuff. And we've been noticing the Ort Federation, which is the latest in the Ort Chronicles science fiction series, hard science fiction, by his, has been consistently lately running in the top 0.1% of sales in hard science fiction. And that's the tough category. That's the big catch-all category for science fiction. And if you're getting up, in the top few thousand slots in that, you're really doing well. So congratulations, Dr. Williscroft, on the Ort Federation doing so well.
All right. On my end, audiobooks. I'm hard at work on a couple of audiobooks, although this week, so far, I haven't been able to get to them because, as I said, I took Monday off to visit my sister in the last 2 days. Both days were spent cleaning up the yard, sawing broken branches and building the fire pile out in the fire pit. But I am hard at work on Mad Max and Sweet Sarah by Ellie Collins. That one should be, more hours than I've done, other than some rereads that our author vocal talent has to make a couple of rereads on some lines. Some behind the scenes producery. And Jenny Wong's book is kind of paused until the voice actor gets the rest of the tapes to me, and usually she dumps them in a big batch. So I'm suspecting I'm going to have a big batch here before too long. So keep an ear out for that. And if you miss an episode, and also we're working on a new video for the Autumn Tree by Aisha Hassan, brand new book trailer. The book's been out for a bit, but we're deciding to do a trailer for it in the audio commercial as well. What else is there? There's we do have a Voice of Indie blog. It's voiceofindiepodcast.wordpress.com. And
now that can be followed by people who are WordPress users, right?
Yeah, anybody that's a WordPress user can follow it. Even non-WordPress users can visit it. You just won't follow it. But if you're a WordPress user, go over there and like what we put up there. Help us get this out there and share these posts. The posts that we're doing right now are primarily just promoting our guests that are on this show and promoting some other stuff as well. But it's primarily the guests on this show, and help us build this up, because we're trying to build something here that'll be beneficial to everybody, listeners and guests alike.
And their dogs.
And their dogs and their frogs. Can't forget the frogs. Now, if you happen to miss an episode of this show, here's how you can get into our archive and find where these are at.
If you miss a show, find us in the archive, in the Fresh Ink Group channel on YouTube, on Spotify, or under the podcast tab at freshinkgroup.com, beamweeks.com, and stephengs.com. On YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe.
All right. Now, before we introduce our guest tonight, there's a podcast before this one. It is the Meet the Author podcast with Rob and Joan Carter, and we're going to throw a little promotion their way.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. We would like you to join us on Meet the Author podcast, live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S.
Yeah, Meet the Author podcast is a live video broadcast produced in association with WLFE-B Radio, airing on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Shortly after each episode ends, it's released on a dozen major podcast platforms.
We have casual conversations with authors of many genres. You will often hear humorous stories from their lives, or sometimes some very poignant stories. Some of these people have overcome great obstacles to become authors. However, it's always a fun time.
It always is. So come join the fun, make comments, ask questions. We hope to see you at Meet the Author Podcast live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Find all the program links at indiebooksource.com. Until then.
That's all, folks.
Yeah,
right.
we added some animations to that and made a nice video for them, which you can find in the Fresh Ink Group channel over on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share.
Yeah. All right. On to tonight's guest. Let me throw this button here. A longtime veteran of the food industry, A.K. Wingler, has managed everything from snack bars to the finest restaurants. She started writing about food in college with a series of restaurant reviews and has since written the training manual for new banquet staff at prestigious The Manor in West Orange, New Jersey. She also traveled the world for Continental and JetBlue, sampling the wide variety of regional food trucks. A longtime resident of Florida, she holds a BA in liberal arts and is a graduate of the Blue College of Culinary Arts in Orlando. She and her partner enjoyed great success operating their own. Wingler looks forward to helping make you proud of owning your own food truck business. With that, welcome to the show, A.K. Andrea Wingler.
Hi there. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Andrea.
So this is your
tonight?
second.
Doing well?
Your second visit back, and it's good to have you here. Why don't you kind of those that haven't heard your first episode and give us a little, not a background, but just kind of on what you're up to, where you living.
I just want to tell you, you're breaking up quite
a
bit.
Badly.
I know you're having a storm. We're having a storm also. So it's a little tricky with what I'm hearing. You're asking me to just go over a little bit from the first book, from the first visit?
No, he's just asking who you are. Why are we talking to you about food trucks?
Because you like me.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had a food truck for a couple of years, and, it's a very profitable venture, and it's becoming more and more popular since opening a business is becoming outrageously expensive to have a brick-and-mortar store. Many people are opening different food trucks. So we did the book on Florida to give all the rules and regulations on how to go about and who to contact to open your business. Like there's information out there and books out there, but myself and a number of our friends found out that there are kind of a lot of fluff and not a lot of details. So we decided to put in a lot of details, websites, who to contact, what offices to contact for different licenses. Because no matter where you're going, at least, I'm on my third one now. The new one coming out is Georgia, then follows with Tennessee, but it's kind of the similar situation in each state. You need a state license, sometimes a county license, and a city license, and you need tax licenses. So it's basically the same, but in each area, I want everybody to be able to find where to go. Because we always found every time we took a step forward, it was 2 steps backward. Nobody told me about that license. Where do I go for this? So we kind of put it all together and decided to do them for all the states if we can get it out there.
So this is then going to be a series. You've got it started. You're going to put out quite a few more books. You also have a companion website. You have a companion blog. You're inviting reader interaction, people to ask questions, come in and post pictures of food trucks they've seen, things like that. So what's the plan here? You're building a little bit of an empire. What are you envisioning?
Hopefully. Actually, I know I have been a little bit behind. There was some serious health issues going on here in the family for the last couple of months, so I'm a little bit behind on myself. But yes, I want to build up the blog issue, travel around and get good pictures of food trucks and their logos. And I would like other people to start sending in, what do they think, what do they see, who's got what kind of menu. Maybe we can offer some recipe suggestions. I don't want to fill up a book with recipes because that's not what we're about. And get everybody's insight and, help them out any which way we can. Help them get started and get moving. There's a new, well, it's kind of a new thing that's happening, and I see that it's big in Georgia, is food truck weddings.
Woo.
People are catering their weddings with, a variety of food trucks, and it's turning out pretty well.
Well,
so
there's food truck graduations. There's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, there's all kinds of potential.
Yeah, and they can some of the places can make it as fancy as you want. It's in that everybody can just really, your guests can all mingle and have what they want, and it's quite interesting. It's quite fun.
Now, if people spot food trucks out there and they start to collect some pictures or whatever, you can put these on the website, and you're going to build up a huge gallery, as it were, of pictures there, so that people can get ideas. They can look through and see all the different variety kinds of menus and stuff. So when I see them, I'm making it a point to take a picture of the truck, take a picture of the menu, take a picture of their logo, maybe the people who are running it, and close up of some of the food even too. So anybody out there, when you see these, take some pictures, take too many pictures and share them.
Yeah, it's great. It's great fun. It's a nice little community. I'd like to see it grow and build that up. And it's good to take pictures of the guests sitting there enjoying their food. If there's tables, a lot of places have tables available. Some don't. But it's an interesting business that's really starting to pick up. Really, especially now that times are hard. Money's tight all the way around, and sometimes it might get worse before it gets better. But food trucks are a good way to go.
Oh, definitely. So, since we're talking about food trucks, and we do have some callers waiting, right, Beem?
Yes, we do.
Why don't we go ahead and run the food truck commercial, and then we'll see what the callers have to say.
All righty. This is the food truck Florida commercial.
Now, this is for book one, the Florida book.
With good jobs so hard to find, especially in rapidly expanding Florida, owning your own food truck could be the best option. It's the least expensive startup, and you can be fully operational in mere months. The rules and regulations can be a bit complex, and no single source has offered all the answers. Until now. How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida by food truck veteran A.K. Wingler is the step-by-step guide that takes you from good idea to great success. Sure, it's hard work, but exciting, mobile, flexible, and highly profitable. And you get to be your own boss and set your own hours. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, this book tells you how and where to make money in this exploding independent industry. Grab your copy in laminated hardcover, glossy softcover, or any of the major ebook formats at retailers worldwide. Even if you're just curious for now, this guide is the best way to discover if a food truck business is right for you.
All right, and as always, there is a video for that book over on the Fresh Ink Group YouTube channel. So get over there, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to have to be making a video for the entire series. Because right now the Georgia book is just about ready to come out. The Tennessee cover is done, and Andrea's working on Tennessee next. So we're excited about that. But with the Florida book out, and we are seeing some decent sales. In fact, it crept into the top 5 print sellers earlier this week for a couple of days in there. Georgia about to be released. What is it about Georgia that's different than, say, Florida? I mean, why would we need to have the Georgia book in Georgia instead of just buying the Florida one?
Well, everybody's state might be a little different, and you want to make sure you're going to the right offices. I mean, if I tell you just to get the Florida book, that isn't going to help you with who to contact in Georgia. Federal, yes, but statewide, county-wise, and Georgia itself is rather complicated. In Georgia, you need, of course, the state license, you need the health license, but you need a county and health license permit from each county individually. You cannot work in one county and go to the next county because you have a state license. It doesn't work that way in Georgia. They require every single county to have their own permit and their own health permit, and then you need a city permit for each city you want to go to. So there's a pile of permits you need from everywhere, and it's quite expensive. But the good thing is they just passed the law where they're changing all of that. As of January 1st, 2023, they're only going to have the one state license, and you only need one permit for the county that's your home county, and all the other counties have to accept it. They will charge, or they have the option to charge a fee for a separate health inspection. They are capping the price on what you can charge for a health inspection in the counties. So it's a tremendous improvement for the food truck industry in Georgia. I would recommend anybody who's like in the process of working out to get a business in Georgia, start a business in Georgia, delay all your permits. Since it's coming, it's already August, going to be September. If you can hold off for a couple of months till January when the new laws go into place, you'll save yourself a lot of effort and money.
So not only are we got 50 different states in the U.S., but jurisdictions within those states, and it's a dynamic, constantly changing things. Laws and regulations and licensing and permits and stuff are changing. This is why we need not only the separate books, but we need the website. With Ms. Wingler posting things in the blog like, hey, guess what, people? Georgia just changed its law. And that's why it's good to have that website as a resource, too, so people can keep up on the latest and write in and ask questions. You know, it's like, hey, I'm in Georgia. I'm hearing that I should wait till January. Is this true? You know, and that's you know, we're talking to Andrea Wingler, A.K. Wingler, on her book covers, and she knows the answers to these questions. And honestly, I've been thinking about a food truck lately, and I've got questions. So, you know, it's an interesting, fun idea. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, Beem, we got some callers?
We've got some callers. Would you like to? We got Dr. Helen called in early, so would you like to take her call first?
Yeah, let's say hi to Dr. Helen real quick. See how she's doing.
So we're going to go over there. Hello, Dr. Helen.
Throw me away.
There you are, Dr.
There you are.
Listen, guys, I'm enjoying another great Wednesday Fresh Ink Group soiree, and your delicious featured writer.
You sound better every week, too, Helen. Good for you.
Stronger.
It's good.
Yeah, stronger. Good, strong voice. And do us a favor, Helen.
Occasionally you mention my books.
Yeah. We'll do that.
Because I'm telling them all here at Rehab that all about the books and all about Fresh Ink Group.
Always selling. We like
American Agony and the Hippocampus. Maybe we'll have to drop some commercials in here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we need to send a food truck your way to roll up in front of the rehab facility too.
I'll tell you, you're right compared to the food here. Yeah.
Now, Helen, before we let you go, we do want to say we've had trouble getting a hold of you. So would you call me sometime in the next few days and let us know?
Oh, you know why? They moved me.
Yeah. See, well, we can't get a hold of you.
What is my phone number here?
All right. Well, when
on
you
this
figure
floor.
When you figure that out, let us know, okay?
Why don't you call 646?
Don't put it out on the air. No,
not on the air, Helen.
Don't put it out on the air.
Ask them my extension.
Look,
okay.
I've got your number on the screen here, so I'm just gonna write it down.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Right, but the number you have is the number I think I've been trying to call, and I can't get her. So when you get it figured out, Helen, let us know. But again, thanks for calling in, letting us know that you're doing well, and for congratulating Andrea on her success with her books.
Slow progress. But I still want you to call this the Fresh Ink Group Wednesday soiree.
Wednesday
Don't
soiree.
You like that? Right?
Yeah, and we're trying to have some food trucks pull up out front for the soiree. So
that would be great. Well,
yeah.
It should fill up outside all the writers' houses, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Helen.
Why don't you have a literary food truck? Think about that.
Oh, okay.
Tell your guests.
We can eat our
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, get a poem with your taco.
Or wait a second.
What are the greatest?
What are the favorite foods of great writers?
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start.
That's another subject.
All right, Helen, we're going to take another call now. Thanks for checking in and get a hold of us on the side here in the next few days. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Helen.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. So the next caller, I'm going to go by area codes because we've got a couple of them in here. This next caller is going to be area code 407. Hello, area code 407. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Bob, and I'm Andrew's partner.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Hello, Bob. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Bob.
And I'm in Orlando.
All right.
Stormy down there?
It's warm and raining and who knows what else. But it only lasts for the summertime, and the other part of the year is very, very nice. So. But anyway, I was going to tell you that Andrea's done a bang-up job on this last one. She burned a lot of extra hours because there's so many things in Georgia that had to be researched. And she's a good person to research a lot of things.
Right off the bat, I mean, she knows what to look for. I mean, that right there.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's like, where do I start? And you really don't know to hit the health department, hit the various municipalities and stuff. So yeah, that's invaluable information.
That's one of the reasons
actually
started the whole thing. Yeah.
Actually, it took us a year and a half to write the first book because there were just so many things. You go through a door that'd be two behind it, like Andrew said, and so there were just we had a lot of misinformation. I think that's worse than the right information. So we had to always be.
What kind of misinformation? Just outdated stuff?
I think outdated stuff, and people would just say, "Well, I think it's this," and then so you'd call, and then you're in the wrong place. Then you have to go back to square one. So we found out a lot of that to be true. And a lot of these offices that they have long wait times to get in and talk to people. It's on and on and on. It was very frustrating. But we persevered and we got the book out.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah, and that's what helps me know, like, where to contact, who to contact, and what to look for, even online. So you look at some of these things online, and you try to get information, and it's like it almost spins your head in circles because somebody's saying one thing, somebody's saying another thing. Some has outdated information. That's why even in this Georgia book, I put in a little chapter about the new laws that are coming into place, because they'll get people right up until December going through all these other permits and whatnot, and if they could just stretch it a little bit, if they can wait just a little bit longer and start in January, they'll save a lot of aggravation and money. But like you said, knowing where to find stuff out is the main thing, and that was the whole purpose of starting this whole series.
Yeah, good. I've been looking around a lot out there too, and I'm finding a lot of stuff that's just outdated. You'll find like 3 different answers to the same question, and it's because there's last year's answer, the year before's answer, and then there's the answer on what is the dimensions on your chuck wagon if you're trying to start a chuck wagon,
right.
Like that.
We found that to be true with a lot of things.
Yeah, and back in the day, I used to be in the franchise pizzeria business. I used to have Hungry Howie's franchises, and keeping up with the constantly changing health regulations in the counties that I was operating in, it was a huge nightmare. And it's not like these people are going out of their way to keep you informed. They're going out of their way to catch you not knowing the latest. So
exactly.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, and once we got into this, working on this with Andrea, and I started doing some research out there myself, it's like, wow, it's overwhelming, the amount of info that's there. And a huge amount of it, you got to kind of sort the difference between what's really solid information and what's just somebody's opinion or advice.
Right.
When someone tells you, well, you have to do this, and then you have to do that, and then you have to do that. Well, sometimes that's correct. Yes, you have to do that, that, and that. But sometimes they're just telling you how they think you should do it. And you got to sort that out.
Yeah, it's tough.
A lot of times there's just impromptu visits from the health department, and they can fine you or they can shut you down. So
shut you down in a minute.
You're out of business.
But you have to be on top of everything. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, it was probably the most important thing of all.
It was. She'll tell me later.
Oh no, I was going to say. Oh, even with something simple, which is getting the food handler's license, I must have got 3 different answers for a simple thing like that as to where to go, which one do you need. Like the one class they sent me to was actually a class to renew yours if you were a manager, which has way more information on it than if you're just starting out to get your original food handler's license. It was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. So we sorted it out. That's why. And then when I go to look for things and I look for these rules and regulations in all these other states, I'll look at it in a couple of different ways to track it down correctly. Because even some of the state things, you would think the states would have a list. You need this, you need this, you need this. Well, they don't.
They don't.
You got to look under each city. You got to look under the counties. You got to look under the state to make sure that is it only the state we need? Do we need that? We need this. We need this. So it's quite involved, but it's very, 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 very interesting. And I'm looking forward to getting a lot of photos from other people on it. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I have a friend who was a Culinary Institute of Chicago trained chef, and he operated down in Tampa area for several decades. And it's real tight in Florida in terms of, the licensing that they have to have, the certification for food handling, food storage, and, all those kinds of things. And he recently moved to Kentucky, and he's got a job as a chef in Kentucky, but he's still, after 3 months, trying to sort out and figure out what he needs to do to update his licenses and certifications for Kentucky, and he can't get the answers. That's just absolutely nuts.
Very frustrating. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the insurances you have to have is actually a food poison. The insurance is up to $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, that's real complicated if you want to try to have an arsenic truck.
There's just a lot of licenses you have to have.
It sounds like it's so expensive. It's $1 million of coverage for if anybody gets ill or anything, but it's actually not very expensive for you at all. And any insurance company, carries it. Progressive, Geico, all the big ones, they all carry it.
Yeah.
Barbecue botulism.
I'm sorry.
Now, actually,
We do have another caller we could bring in, and Bob, if you'd like to stick around and stay in the conversation, that'd be cool.
I will. That's all I'd say.
Yeah,
thank you.
And also I want to say that Verwang Greenhoe has, out on Twitter, he said that they were having a lightning storm pretty bad, so he had to duck out. He said he'd catch the show on the replay, so stay safe, Verwang. All right. So this next caller here is going to be area code 708. What's your name, where you calling from, and welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Pat Guthrie.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Pat Guthrie. Welcome.
Hey,
welcome
how
to
you
the
doing?
show.
I'm doing okay. How are you all doing?
We're doing great. We're getting ready to talk smack about Verwang Greenhoe because we've heard he's cut out now.
Oh. Yeah, you guys are getting bad weather, I understand. Well, I'm getting very hungry listening to you guys talk about the food truck. And I'm just wondering, what kind of stuff do you offer on your food truck? I'm sure you have burger stuff, but what do you serve?
We ourselves on our food truck, we had a specific, we did hot dogs. I did not have burgers. We had hot dogs, but we featured Italian-style hot dog, which is an New Jersey original. It's a large hot dog with you fry potatoes, peppers, and onions together. You put it all on a hoagie roll and put all that on top of it, and it is really, really good.
Sure.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Our logo was a deal of a meal because it's big.
And they can see that if they buy the book, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, pictures right in the book.
You do serve the same things in the different states, in Georgia as in Florida.
Yes, that was our main feature, and we served. You always get kids. Kids want a plain hot dog with ketchup; they're happy with that. We did a couple different toppings. We had nacho dogs, we had cheese dogs, a couple different toppings, but our main thing was the Italian hot dog.
Yeah, well, that sounds good.
Yeah, it was
sounds like a meal.
It was a meal of a deal, deal of a meal.
Deal of a meal.
Do you find a big difference in the clients that you have in Florida that come your truck in Florida as opposed to Georgia? They're pretty much the same, or?
No, there's a difference. There's a definite difference. I think there's a little more diversity in the cultures here in Florida right now. Yeah, so that introducing an Italian-style hot dog to a Latin community was very interesting, because they were like, what is that? That was fun. That was different.
But they liked it, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Everybody did. But, that's the great thing about food trucks, too, is like, a lot of most people will specialize in one thing or their own cultural specialty, which is that you can explore. Like, gosh, you can almost go around the world half the time in some large, big venues. You know, have all different things from all different countries, and it's great fun. Learn about other people and other foods. Yeah, it's enjoyable. With a food truck, I've seen people with like these giant menus, like they have a diner, like they might have 12 different items, and you always have to think about like where you're going to store it. And sometimes people new in the business think they can cook stuff at home and sell it in their truck, and that is absolutely no. That cannot happen. There is such a thing as a cottage industry where you can cook stuff at home. Not cook stuff. You can't cook stuff. You can make stuff at home. You can bake a cake. You can make candy, things like that, and you can sell those out of your home directly to the public, not on a food truck, not in a store, not in a restaurant. That's a cottage industry. That's permitted. But you cannot cook food items that require time and temperature control in any place but a commercial kitchen. And a food truck is considered a commercial kitchen.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very funny.
See, listeners, this is the kind of information that you need to know. So listen up and get the book.
Yeah, exactly. But it's fun. Food trucks are great, and then Georgia's got some great food truck parks where there's we have some in Florida too, but. You know, it's a kind of a permanent setup, and you can go visit your favorite food trucks, and they'll trade trucks out. But the trucks can be there on a permanent, semi-permanent basis.
Oh,
yes.
So is that what you got done? Are you in a park?
No. We always did. We always traveled. We always did some individual stuff.
Well,
we do different days. Yeah, it is. There's so many different ways you can make some money. If you like to travel, you could travel all over the country. If you get involved with what they call an event coordinator, you don't need as many licenses because you travel with the event coordinator and you're under their umbrella. You could travel the whole country. You could work. You could work 3 months out of the year and take the rest of the year off if you're doing big fairs and stuff. So it all depends on your content and how you want to do it. Yeah, there's so many ways, and I explain that in the book too.
Is that your goal?
All right.
Hello, did I lose you?
No, you're here.
No, I was just wondering if that was one of your is to work with somebody like that and have them set up things for you.
I kind of get half of what you say. I got thunder over here, so it's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, Andrea, I think Pat's kind of getting the impression that you're still running a food truck, and that's no longer true, right?
No, we didn't. Yeah, we had stopped running the food truck. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still running a food truck.
No, she's writing books now.
Now she's the food truck expert.
She's writing books.
Right.
Okay. I'll back off now.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Beam.
Bye.
Do we have another caller waiting, Beam?
No, we do not.
Why don't we go ahead and roll the next commercial then? This is for last week's guest, Jerry Pate, Robert G. Willis-Croft.
All right. Submariner.
Submariner. 30 years of hijinks in keeping the fleet afloat. Jerry Pate's semi-autobiographical collection of 60 stories recounts his 30 years in and around the U.S. Navy submarine fleet, ranging from lighthearted to wrenching. All are poignant inside looks at naval operations rarely seen by outsiders. Topics include the real story behind the shuttle Challenger tragedy, risking his own life underwater, discovering a Soviet spy living across the street, surviving when an engine ignites, critical missions, and the everyday lives of men and women of the fleet. Compiled by author Robert G. Willis-Croft and proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Submariner is available worldwide in hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Dive into Submariner for hijinks and breathtaking adventure with this poignant memoir by a true American hero.
All right. Hello.
That was a great episode. Make sure if any of you who missed that and you're into old Navy stories and stuff, get over to the archives and check that out, because Jerry Pate was full of stories and Robert Willis Croft added to them, and we were practically underwater for an hour and a half last week.
Yeah, that was a popular episode. I forgot to check the numbers before the start of this week's show, but just a couple of days ago I was checking the numbers, and that was a popular show, and it's still doing big numbers. So get over to the archive and check it out.
Now, Andrea, something I'm curious about. I'm going to ask you in a second. I'm going to ask you about some examples of different kinds of food truck menus you've seen out there. As I mentioned earlier, I've actually been seriously thinking about this, because I have a couple friends who are chefs and, getting tired of working in hot kitchens all day long. They'd rather work in a hot truck maybe all day long or longer. But, there's a lot of questions you got to start answering when you think about doing this. And menu, of course, is one of the big ones. What kind of food truck is it? And down here in the South, there's taco trucks everywhere you look. I wouldn't want to try to compete with that. There's hot dog trucks everywhere you look. And I'm seeing a lot of dessert trucks, like shaved ice and things like that, which would be probably fairly cheap to operate, I would think. I was looking for something maybe that's a little bit more unique and just running crazy ideas by. And, I'm wondering what kind of crazy ideas you've seen, too. One that's stuck in my head is like charcuterie cones or something like that, where you make these cones and you put meats and cheeses and fruits and things in it, and people can have one that's a dessert one, or they can have one that's a meat one, or whatever, or maybe something with shrimp, because shrimp is plentiful and cheap. We had a food truck down here that made lobster rolls and was so successful that they wound up making enough money, and they opened up a shop, a lobster roll shop, carry out and stuff to go with the truck. But I'd hate to be in the lobster roll business right now, because lobster is way too expensive. Shrimp is always cheap. Shrimp is always going to be cheap and plentiful. So maybe I need to do something with shrimp. Or I'm in the South, maybe catfish bites or something. But so, Andrea, what kind of stuff have you seen out there that kind of stands out to you as unique, original, a little bit different than your standard taco truck?
Well, we started out that way. We wanted something different. That's why we had the Italian hot dog. Something else. What you're saying is the shrimp could be a good thing. The charcuterie could be a good thing. What I was starting to say before is that we saw every now and then we see menus that they got 20 items on their menu. They got sandwiches. It's like a rolling diner. It's not a giant truck. So now you have to keep all that stuff prepared, all that stuff on hand, all the supplies. You really want to try to keep things more simple. Like you're saying, a specialty item, that would be really cool. The food truck is handheld food. You want to have stuff, like you're saying, in a cone, the charcuterie in a cone, have shrimp on a stick, something
Walk
simple.
Around.
Yeah, something really tasty, maybe a real garlicky shrimp. Maybe you want something that's like a local favorite and make it just really, really good. Your food is only as good as your ingredients are, and your chef friends will tell you that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
If you use inferior ingredients, your product isn't going to be that good. But basically, you want to choose something that people haven't seen. I've seen cupcake trucks and all, and they don't last. They don't last for some reason.
Not very unique, yeah.
Not very unique. People in a food truck thing, eating a whole cupcake. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Ice cream is tough. Well, you can get packaged ice cream, but ice cream cones are good as long as you got, now you got a freezer truck, but that's okay. You can get that kind of truck made up. Yeah, I like shrimp on a stick. Actually, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah. I like the availability and the cheapness. You don't want to get into a truck where you can't afford your ingredients anymore, or your prices are too high and you can't do it. But you mentioned like a truck that might have like 20 items on the menu. I would think that would dilute your identity. I mean, you want the hook. You want somebody at the other end of the fairground to say, if you're heading that way, go hit that truck with the charcuterie cone. or go hit the truck with the shrimp on the stick. Not go hit that truck that had 20 items on the menu and I don't remember what it was called,
Exactly. And, and then you don't want things that are involved to make that you have people. Now, people are waiting in line because they heard your truck is great. So they order something, and now they have to wait for you to cook it. So now you've got 2 lines going all the time. That isn't the best idea. You want something that's easy to eat, while you're standing up or holding on to it, and it's quick and easy, stuff you have prepared, and you can just, put it out there, because the faster you can serve people, the faster you're going to get more customers, and the faster, you'll make more money.
And you can work ahead then, too. You see 20 people in line, and you're doing the shrimp on the stick. Go ahead and throw enough shrimp in there for the next 20 people, and it's just a question of what sauce did you want on that, or what seasoning did you want, but it's all shrimp, starting up front. That way they're not having to wait.
Yep. We used to do a really fast lunch business, 2 of us, bing, 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 you can get everything out. We had stuff prepared, who did it, who did that, who did this. A couple of times I had a third person in the truck, and you got a good system down, and nobody's in anybody's way, and we could just whip stuff out in a heartbeat. It was good. It was fun. It was fun too.
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch that movie you told me about.
Chef.
Yes. It was very entertaining. That was very good. But that's the truth of it.
Listeners, she's talking about the movie Chef, which was written and directed by Jon Favreau, famous actor and director. I mean, big director. Iron Man, Marvel movies, things like that, Disney movies and whatnot. But he did this little indie film on a $4 million budget, called all his movie star friends to be in it. And it's about a guy who's a chef, and he gets disillusioned working at a restaurant, and he starts his own food truck business. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun movie.
Yeah, it was. Yes, and that's pretty much how the business is. It's fast, it's furious, and it's fun.
Yeah. And one thing that I really enjoyed about that movie is he really put an emphasis on the fact that you got to love doing it. You got to take pride in it. You don't look at this as like, well, I could do this and make X amount of money, or I could do a food truck and make that amount of money, or whatever. If you're not into it, you're not going to have the passion. If you're not going to have the passion, it's not going to come through in the product and all that. Doesn't mean you have to be the person working on the food truck if you've got the right people, but still, you got to believe in it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah,
so,
Stephen, you were talking about a particular food truck down there where you were at. They were so successful, they were able to, open a brick and mortar business.
Yeah,
we had that up here with a barbecue truck. These guys were everywhere. They got, really popular to where people were, texting each other. Yeah, they're over on the west side, and so they'd go over there and or they're on the east side today. And, they ended up saving their money, and now they've got a really nice brick and mortar store, but they also keep the food truck for, special events, the county fairs. They have some parades and things downtown, and their truck's always there. Good food. That's great. Barbecue.
That's good synergy, too, because the truck is out there advertising the brick and mortar operation.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, during the winter months when the truck's not out there, it's parked in front of the business.
Yeah.
Right out there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, that brings me to another topic that I've been thinking about a lot and trying to figure out the logistics of it. And Andrea, maybe you've got some suggestions and ideas here, is where would I park this truck? And I'm not talking to operate it. I'm talking at night, overnight. Because I'm assuming you need to plug it in, and I'm assuming you probably need some kind of refrigeration or storage or whatever outside of the truck too, like inside a facility or something. Because if you're going to take weekly deliveries of food and supplies, you're going to have to put those somewhere and not have all of them in the truck at all the time. I wouldn't think. So
no. Yep. Well, you cannot have it in your home. You can't store food in your home. You actually need what you call a commissary. A commissary is a commercial kitchen that offers a place where you can cook food, a place where you can, rarely, but some places, where you can have things delivered there. You have cold storage, and you need a place to park your truck. Sometimes people think they can park it like home in their own property. Usually not. Usually you cannot put a commercial truck parked in a residential area, and you would really have to double check with your homeowners association if you were even possibly thinking of doing that. But some commissaries do have parking, but it's most important that you have your parking available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because if you're out working a fair and the fair ends at midnight, you got to have a place to be able to get to your, bring your truck in. You don't necessarily have to plug things in. It depends what kind of equipment you have and what kind of truck you have. But you do run everything off of propane. And it's always wise to have it's usually a 100-gallon tank that they attach to your truck. And everything runs off of that. I mean, our air conditioner did and everything. And we had an air conditioner. That was wonderful. We had 2 100-gallon tanks of propane because if you go do a big venue, you surely don't want to run out of gas in the middle of anything. So it is a commissary is pretty much, well, it's mandatory basically for food prep and dumping your water, what they call gray water, is you have water tanks in your truck that you can only use for like washing utensils and, and some if you need it for food prep or washing things down, rinsing things off. Excuse me. That's called gray water when it's in dirty water. There's a holding tank for that, and you must have a commissary in order to empty that gray water in a proper spot. You can't just dump it in the street.
Now, you're referring to having a commissary. Are these places around? I mean, is this something that somebody could approach one and say, look, I need to work a deal with you. I want to be able to park my truck here and have access to your facilities for a certain fee or something like that? How would that work?
Nope, it does work with fees. There's plenty of commissaries around. Some have parking facilities, some do not. So you have to double check on whichever one you're looking at. But there is a basic website that you can check for commissaries called the Kitchen Door. The kitchendoor.com will tell you what city, what state, what town, where a commissary will be or can be. It's not something that's so unique you wouldn't have one. But oddly enough, here in Orlando, there's 2, and there's none in the next county over. So that's another business somebody might want to get into. If you got your hands on your house.
Definitely. Well, down here where I am, this is basically considered a resort area. We're on the lake, and it's a huge, massive lake, Tennessee River, mountains, and all that. And in this area, there are everywhere you go in the U.S. now, you see these storage facilities, the long pole barn buildings with all the little garage doors on them, and you rent the space. Well, down here, not only do you have those, but you have at least as many RV storage. Because everybody down, RV and boats, everybody down here has boats, and a whole lot of people have boats that they can't store at their house. So there's a place down the road. It's $40 a month, and you rent a stall. And these are big places. I mean, they're behind security fences. You got to have a code to get in and all that. But they're sometimes 20 feet high, 15 feet wide. You can park a big truck, a bus, or a food truck in a place like that. So, I mean, there could be a place, and some of these places have power too. So I was thinking if you just need a place to park it every night, something like that could work. And it'd be right down the street, and it's a secure area. Because you don't want it to leave a truck somewhere where somebody can break into it, because they will.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll only be a matter of time.
Right, and you want to always be sure you can lock it up so nobody tries to steal your generator, because you have your own generator on your truck.
Oh, yeah, sometimes that's worth a lot of money.
Back of the truck, sometimes they're on the roof of the truck. But
as far as a commissary, I mean, couldn't I maybe find some hole-in-the-wall pizzeria down the road that's got its own walk-in freezer and refrigerator and make a deal with them?
Not unless you've got a place to dump gray water. And you must have a commissary letter. In some states, you must have a commissary letter certifying that you have your commissary set up. Now, you can rent from them, say you just can I come just dump my water? That would be one fee. I need a kitchen. That's another fee. Cold storage is another fee. They break it all down. So you only have to take what you need, But you could park it in an RV storage place like you're talking about, as long as they take food trucks. But you must have a commissary, as that's mandatory, even if it's just to dump the water. Yeah, that's mandatory.
We have a couple of neighborhoods down here I've never seen anywhere else. They're RV neighborhoods. What they are is they're like a little neighborhood, streets, cul-de-sacs, stuff like that. And the houses are clustered around little circles, but they're small houses with massive carports attached to them. And I mean carports like 15 feet high, and they're designed so that you go out and travel in your big RV. You know, some of these are virtually buses. And then when you come home, you pull it right into the carport attached to your house, plug in, and basically you live in the RV/house when you're home.
Yep.
And then when you hit the road, you unplug, stock up the RV, and off you go. Even one of those kinds of places would have room. You could park a food truck right there, you know, next to your house.
If they permit a commercial vehicle.
If they permit it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's usually not a commercial vehicle, but you would have to check with an individual area like that. We have a place like that in Titusville near here. That it's like a little house, half a house. Some of them are only like a bedroom. I mean, a living room and a bathroom, and you live half in your house and half in the van. It's quite interesting. Mm-hmm. But yes, you must be sure that it allows parking for commercial vehicles. See, now where I live, they have an RV park. You know, you rent RVs. You can if you live, snowbirds come down and you can park your RV in their lot. And we parked our food truck there for a while. That was no problem, but we still had to have a commissary.
No. Well,
yep, that's state regulations. Yeah.
Now, see, when I started getting serious about thinking about this, then these questions started popping in my head, and it's like, well, I need to go back and read that book again or talk to Andrea, and you are answering the questions. I mean, these are the kinds of logistics that people need to work out in order to make this a realistic goal for them. And it sounds doable. It does sound doable to me. You just got to work it out, create your deal, and maybe what you need to do is open the little pizzeria, and at the same time as the food truck or the little hot dog place or charcuterie place or whatever you want to call it, and do them together. There's a lot of synergy in that.
Finances, that could be quite involved because a brick and mortar business will have other different regulations than the truck has. But hey, go for it. Can do it. Do it.
Yeah.
But where would you dump your gray water?
Oh.
You may be able. If you had both, you might be able to. You know what? I'm going to have to look that up. If you have a brick and mortar and you have a truck, are you able to dump your gray water in your own facility? Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good question. I will look that up.
I would think you would, but who knows?
I mean, is this water? What makes this water so special? Is it toxic or something?
It's just dirty water.
No, it's dirty water, and it's the health departments that require that, and it can't just be dumped in the street. It has to be dumped into I don't know if you could, because it's not a tank that you can take out of your truck. How would you get your water out of your truck into your brick and mortar sink? Interesting. I'm going to look that one up. That's a very good question. And no, it's got like food germs and stuff in it. They don't want anything to mix. It has to be specific, and all the states are pretty much the same on that.
Okay.
Gray water, just dirty old water.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And another thing that so far everybody's in agreement. Statewide, there's agreement on bathroom facilities. You can't have a truck with bathroom because it's a health issue. In Georgia specifically, you have to have a certification that your toilet facilities are at least 200 feet away from where your truck is, and you have to have a certificate for that. Now, most of the venues, in fact, all the venues you do, unless it's on private property, will have they'll have porta potties or bathroom facilities all over the place. That's usually not an issue. But to have a toilet facility, I saw only one that was for sale that had a toilet facility in its the back of the truck, and boy, that's a huge no-no. Cannot do it. Like it was a separate compartment, but you cannot do that.
So what kind of reaction? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Health departments are very strict about that stuff.
So what kind of reaction are you getting from your books so far?
I'm getting good reactions from it. I'm getting good responses. I'm getting some good questions from friends and neighbors and things who've read about it, and getting people to want to open a food truck, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other advice for people out there who are interested in either becoming authors or operating a food truck business?
Well, I think becoming an author, there's two ways to go on that, I think. You have your novels, your stories from your life, which is one kind of writing that's more creative. And then you have more technical writing, which I think this whole here falls under more technical writing. You're dealing with rules and regulations and how-tos. So it kind of depends on what interest you have. And actually, I have a whole big interest in a couple of stories that I got to start getting onto paper also. But there's two ways to go with it. So it depends what you like. But if you're going to write about something, you have to know a lot about it, or have it from personal feelings, and you got to put your whole feelings and thoughts into it. I think it's fun. I like it.
Cool.
Food
Great.
Business, any food business, you either love it or hate it. There's no in between. But the first thing anybody should even do when they start even just thinking about it is to start going to all these food truck festivals. Sometimes you just see a single truck on the street doing like a lunch business. Grab your food, talk to the people, ask them what they have. Most people in a food truck are happy to tell you, their story and tell you about the business. So you just get yourself familiar with it before you jump in and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this." Get it familiar with it. Just try different trucks. Look at their menus. Like I said, you got a menu with 20 items on it. That is way too much preparation and storage in my book. Way too much. Get a specialty item.
Hey, if nothing else, it's people standing there trying to make up their mind when you don't have time to wait.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. Do I want that?
So here's your shrimp. The sauces are over there.
Yeah, there you go. And you know what? When you, as you're operating it, make it fun with the people, that they'll come right back to you every time.
Yep.
I enjoy the people food,
Now, if listeners have questions, or anybody that gets a copy of your book, if they have questions or just comments, how can they contact you? Where can they find you, like on social media, your blog, your website, Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, but it's yourfoodtruckhowto.com. That's the blog. I do Twitter a little bit here and there. Like I said, I've been a little
Andrea, that's the website.
That's the website.
Yourfoodtruckhowto.com. And then the blog is yourfoodtruckhowto.wordpress.com.
WordPress.com, yeah.
Yes, sir. Sorry. You know better than I do. Thank you. Either way, I'm here for you.
And you're on social media, Facebook, Twitter?
Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter. I didn't do Instagram. Twitter, and on Facebook, it's just I was just changing it around a little bit. I think it's just Andrea Wingler at Facebook.com. Okay. Right now. I want to do something separate. Yeah.
Well, again, right now, how to start and run your own food truck business in Florida is out. How to start and run your own food truck business in Georgia is coming out this week or so. And how to start and run your own food truck business in Tennessee is next. And we're looking forward to having Andrea back to talk about food trucks some more. And hopefully, maybe by the next time, she'll help us troubleshoot our own food trucks and see what kind of problems we're having and make some suggestions for making things work better.
The Fresh Eating Group Shrimp Truck.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Wait a minute, wouldn't that be an octopus truck?
I know, right? Oh, you're
it would. Octopus. Yeah. Blue octopus.
There you go.
Thanks again for coming on, A.K. Wingler. And listeners,
we appreciate it.
Beem said earlier, next week we have a pre-recorded show with author Paul DeBlasi III. I'm going to be in Nashville, being one of my favorite guitarists, Al Di Meola, put on a show. So you'll be listening to Paul pre-recorded. And then we got more shows after that, don't we, Beem?
We do. We just booked Shaniqua Karanja. We've also got Avante Centre coming up. Jan Sykes will make a return. Jan was one of our earliest guests, and she's put out a couple of books, and she's got a new one out, and she's going to be having one come out when she comes on the show as well. We've got Kenneth Lindquist. He's a Fresh Ink Group author who has how to teach driver's education manuals for teachers and parents. And we also have another return visit, a friend of the show, Marlena Smith Burris. She will be on and talking about some new work that she's got coming out. So
yeah. Previously, we had Marcia Fox, author Marcia Fox, as a guest. We're going to have her back on November 2nd. She's going to bring her co-author, who's Native American Pete Rising's son. And they're going to kick off Native American Month, which is November, by talking about their book series, Native American Folklore Novels. And it'll be our first chance to meet Pete. So we're really looking forward to that as well. Again, we appreciate everybody's support. You get that newsletter, forward it to other people, spread the word, and encourage people to check out the podcast, and, of course, all of our authors and all of their books. So thanks again, Andrea Wingler, for being on the show today and for talking food trucks, making us all hungry.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having your patience with me today. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Now, listeners, we're gonna wrap up today's show by playing a handful of commercials. So if you like, you can hear some of our recent or newer commercials, and then we'll close out the show from then. So we look forward to seeing you live here again in 2 weeks, but we encourage you to come back next week for Paul DeBlassie III.
All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Jacob Radner returns to his suburban Chicago roots to bury his departed father. The family is all there, except for older brother Kevin. 37 years earlier, Kevin Radner walked out the front door and vanished. Will this prodigal son return and finally make peace with the ghost of his mobster father? As the patriarch's body is lowered into the earth, long-hidden family secrets become uncovered. A former girlfriend, a child born out of wedlock and adopted out, a mother willfully blind to the sins of the father. In this novella, author Beem Weeks examines the notion that sometimes those closest to us are the very ones we should fear most. The Thing About Kevin by Beem Weeks, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, now available in ebooks everywhere.
Still Not Enough examines the plight of minority millennials in the workforce. Janelle A. Jordan details her own perspective-molding cultural upbringing, along with professional encounters hindered by others' preconceived notions and unconscious biases. She shares examples that are relatable to many with similar experiences. The scars from every denial fueled the desire for each minority millennial to do more. This book also guides leaders managing today's DE&I employees. Norms are evolving, and organizations must adapt or be left behind. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in all print and digital formats worldwide, Still Not Enough brings transparency to the challenges of today's younger and more inclusive workforce. Psychologist Annabelle O'Brien flees from her psychotic ex-husband in New York City, only to find he is stalking her across the country with deadly intentions. She takes a job in the resort town of Lake Nage. When a series of attacks place her in even greater danger, Annabelle turns to hostile burnout of a detective, Mark Driscoll, who is assigned to protect her. Then, two women who resemble her are murdered, and the town is gripped with fear. Mark and Annabelle must work together to catch the killer before he catches them. From the celebrated author of such bestsellers as Legacy of Danger and her collection Eerie Charms of the Short Story, Water Lilies Over My Grave is a novel of psychological suspense about one woman searching for a new life, even as she is threatened by her old one. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, Water Lilies Over My Grave is available in all print and digital formats worldwide.
Now, from Fresh Ink Group and best-selling author Robert G. Williscroft, the Mac McDowell Mission Series. With a security clearance above top secret, Saturation Dive Team Officer in Charge Mac McDowell leads his team into critical Cold War counter-Soviet missions. Watch Mac prove what brave men can achieve under real pressure, the kind that will steal your air and crush the life out of you. In Operation Ivy Bells, it's the summer of 1972 when Mac and his off-the-books Deepwater Espionage Group are conducting a daring undersea wiretapping operation to gather Russian intel and avert World War. Join nuclear submariner Mac McDowell for extreme diving, a battle with giant squid, and more as he risks everything in the most dangerous operation yet. In Operation Icebreaker, Mac McDowell is leading his submarine team for a mission to lay SOSUS arrays under the Arctic ice when they clash with a highly automated Alpha-class Soviet submarine. Overwhelmed by mechanical problems, the Soviet crew abandons their sub near Point Barrow, Alaska. The skipper launches DSR-V1 Mystic so Mac and his crew can board the empty sub and gather intelligence. The arrival of an even more advanced Soviet sub leads to breathtaking underwater clashes, with the specter of war looming. Will Mac and his crew be sunk by the Soviets, or will they safely return to Alaska, where Mac's new love, Kate, anxiously waits? In Operation Arctic Sting, Mac McDowell and his team capture the abandoned Soviet sub. Piloting their prize through the ice pack to the U.S. East Coast, they must evade or confront other Soviet subs trying to recover the ship or sink it. Breathtaking deep-sea clashes erupt, including hand-to-hand combat with Soviet Morskoy Spetsnaz divers under the ice. Too far from Toothus to escape, the Americans are accosted by a 5-ton orca. Will Mac's ship survive long enough to reach friendly waters, or will the men become just another meal for a deadly whale? The McDowell Mission Series by Robert G. Williscroft is available worldwide in jacketed hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks from Kindle to Nook and Kobo and more, plus exclusive audiobook editions with music and sound effects. The Mac McDowell Mission Series is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Take a breath and dive in for thrilling submarine adventures in every Mac McDowell mission.
You've been a part of Voice of Indy, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.